Hi, I'm Midge Shoemaker, and today is day 62 of my doing 100 days of YouTube videos and celebrating myself. So, yay! Day 62 of celebrating things about myself. Yay! Okay, so today I was thinking learning because I talk about all the stuff that I am learning by doing these videos and that I am constantly learning. I love learning. I don't love learning in a classroom or like online learning. I really have a hard time with all of that. But I really like the hands-on learning. I learn by doing things. Basically, I'm learning so much about myself by doing these videos, by focusing on something about myself every day that I can learn, and also by being open-minded and listening to other people, I can learn so many things. So I just wanted to celebrate the fact that I'm learning, that I can learn, that I have the ability to learn, that I am not like stuck and this is the only knowledge that I will ever have. I will never know everything in the world. I may not even be interested in learning everything that there is to learn in the world, but I am grateful that I can learn new things and that it doesn't matter how old I get, I can continue to learn. I love that about myself. I love that I am willing to learn. I love that I like to learn. I love that I like to try new things. So I think that's a good quality in myself, that I'm capable of learning, that I'm willing to learn, that I often seek out new things to learn how to do, new interests, different things, because I get bored easily. So I like to know how to do new things. I like to try new things. So, and I'm sure I've mentioned this in some of my other videos. I'm also learning that as I do this, there's a lot of character traits and things that just kind of overlap. Or in order to explain my other character traits, I use things like learning. So it's kind of interesting how they kind of overlap, like brave and courage, and learning and loving a challenge and living life and all of those things. They all kind of and making mistakes. They all go with learning. So, but I'm willing to learn from my mistakes. I'm willing to learn new things. I'm willing to try new things. I think I did a video on trying. So there you go. I'm learning. So I love that I'm learning, and I love all the things that I get to learn about myself in doing these videos. Even the things that I think I don't like as much, I'm learning to see that there is a purpose or a reason for those things, or learning to just accept that that's just a part of who I am, because I'm not perfect and I'm not going to be perfect. So I'm accepting that too. It's a learning process. And just learning to recognize that life itself is just a learning process. So I'm learning all of that, and I'm learning how to love myself. And as I learn to love myself, I can love others better. And I love learning um, things about myself, or how I treat myself is a reflection of how I treat other people. Which is interesting, because sometimes I think I always treated other people better than myself, but maybe I wasn't treating them as well as I could because I wasn't treating myself very well, or I was just constantly jealous or judgmental of other people because I was doing everything for them and not for myself. I was forgetting myself. So I am learning not to leave myself out of the equation, and to include myself. So it's not just God and other people, it's myself. It's that do unto others as you would have done unto you. And it's like, you have to remember unto me first, or love thy neighbor as thyself. And it's interesting. They always put unto you second, or as thyself second, but it's important to put yourself first, or maybe second to God. But because if you don't love yourself, if you don't take care of yourself, as I'm learning, if I don't love myself and I don't take care of myself, then I'm running on empty, and I don't have as much to give to other people. I can't take care of other people as well. I'm not as compassionate or loving towards other people. So, and then there's just that idea, like, how well can I love someone else if I don't actually love myself, if I don't actually understand how to love? And so I'm learning. I'm learning all of that, and as I learn it, I get to apply it. I get to share it. I get to put it in all of these videos. So you get to watch me learn through all of these videos that I've been doing. There's a lot of videos that I've been doing. I'm still amazed that I've been doing videos for over a year. So that's huge and ginormous. I'm also learning that there are some things in my life that I need and will probably need for the rest of my life, because when I go without them, I don't do so well. And in case you hadn't noticed, I was feeling a little bit better yesterday and today. I went a week without my my DDR Prime, which those are essential oils that I take, and I know they're kind of pricey, which is why sometimes I don't get them right away. But I'm learning that I can't really afford to not have them because I don't want to go see doctors and get on antidepressants and try to find the right medication that will work when I have this all natural stuff that does work for me. But when I don't take it, I I have a harder time dealing with my emotions and dealing with life and everyday things, including this medication that's just draining me. So I don't do as poorly when I'm not on this other medication. But I'm learning because of this medication as well. I'm learning that things that I know, but I'm learning how to actually try to put into practice, like eating more regularly and drinking more water. Like I've actually been paying attention to how much water intake I'm drinking and realizing no wonder I feel dehydrated or tired all the time. I don't drink enough water. I don't eat enough food. I don't eat enough things with protein in them either. I I'm one of those people that craves protein. I'm always like feel like I'm iron deficient or something. I may need to get me some iron supplements. But I'm learning. I'm learning what my body needs. I am learning what I need to do to take care of myself. I'm learning what I need to do so that I can function on a daily basis, and hopefully do more than just survive or function, but actually learning how to live and enjoy my life. So there are lots of things that I am learning, and I am learning things that work for me, that work for my body, like the DDR Prime, like drinking more water, eating more regularly. Those are things that work for me. Journaling works for me. I don't know what works for everybody else. I am not an expert by any means. Like I said, I'm a jack of all trades. I don't. I know a little bit of everything. I'm not an expert on any one thing. So I know enough just to get by. That's what I do. Anyway, but I know that if you take the time to learn what works for you, it can be a blessing for you. It can help you take care of your body, to feel healthier, to be better, and all of those things. I also have learned, and I'm learning, that it is a process and it takes time, and I can't just one day, I'm going to do this for one day and I'm great, I'm good to go. It takes several days to build that habit, and then it takes several more days to maintain it. And also it's very difficult to maintain some of these things when tragedies or traumas in life occur, and sometimes some of these things have to be let go of temporarily, to allow healing emotionally, physically, or other spiritually, whatever things needs to be healed. I'm learning all of this too. So there's a lot of learning that I have been doing, and learning to have a new perspective, learning to see things, the gratitude in everything, learning to find lessons in life instead of just questioning why or being upset and depressed and discouraged. I'm learning to respond differently to things. I'm learning to think differently. So a lot of things that I have been learning and I've been sharing in these videos. So learning is something that I have been doing a lot of lately, probably my whole life. And obviously I learn from other people, and it's interesting to recognize that I'm actually learning from myself by doing these videos, by sharing what I'm learning as I go. It kind of forces me to self-analyze and to realize things that I've learned about myself. So, and it helps me to recognize what I've learned a little bit more quickly so that I can see a little bit of progress. And I love that I'm doing these videos because these videos actually show my progress. So if I ever get the courage to go back and watch myself, I would actually see a lot of growth and progress, probably from my first video to this one. So I'm sure a lot has changed, especially in my attitude over the past year. So I'm very grateful for the things that I'm learning, and I know that I have like 1,000 other things to learn. Like I said, I won't learn everything in this lifetime, but I am grateful that I can continue to learn, that I am learning, and that I recognize that I'm learning things. So yay for me, and yay for learning, and yay for the ability to learn, because that is probably something that I take for granted, because not everyone can learn. And I admit that in some areas I am a slow learner, or I just do things really slowly. I always consider myself, when I go to job interviews, I say I'm a quick learner. I can catch on to stuff really quickly. I'm like, if it's hands-on, I figure out how to do it a couple of times. I'm like, all right, I'm good. I can do this. But I have to ask a lot of questions. But when it comes to emotional things and how to get things from, the ideas from my head into putting them into practice, I feel like I'm a slow learner because I just don't apply all the things that I learn. So I don't know that it's necessary that I'm a slow learner, just so much as I just choose not to apply things because I'm just very stubborn, or I'm very stuck in what I'm doing. So it is a long process to change those default settings, to change my responses, to do things differently. And I know it works. I've done it in the past, and it works, and it's amazing. It just maintaining that is very difficult for me, because every time trauma or something hits, or depression or whatever, then I'm like, oh, the good habits just disappear, and it's like, oh, that's so not fair. And I did have a conversation with my counselor about that several months ago. And she did point out to me that, for most people that aren't dealing with trauma or PTSD or CPTSD or whatever it is, that's when you develop those habits, they don't just disappear overnight like mine seem to. Because I work really hard, and it's like I'm in the habit of doing this, and then I skip a day, and all of a sudden I have to start over, and it's really hard. But she said that for people that are dealing with trauma, it's more of a trauma response, and you revert back to whatever, and that's why all of that stuff just disappears, and you have to start over because it's kind of rewriting or retraining your brain. It's and then you have to deal with all of the trauma in order to get back those habits, those good habits. There we go. Sorry, brain is having difficulties functioning. Side effect of medication. 2 more weeks. 2 more weeks. I really hope I don't have to do it for more than 2 more weeks. So sorry. Yeah. Side note, not really related to celebrating myself. Just, but I am learning. It is good to take medication. It is good to do things that will help my body to heal and to listen to my body so that I know what it needs. I just don't always necessarily like the process. And of course, anytime you change diet and exercise and all of those things, which I'm attempting to do as well, mostly because it's the only way I'm going to function on this medication. So yay for medication, forcing me to eat healthier and drink more fluids. Not going to do the exercise thing until I'm off the medication, though. But it is, every time you try to change that or do that, I think my body, it rebels. It doesn't like to do that. It doesn't like change any more than I do, any more than anybody does, I guess. But after a while, it gets used to it. It's like, okay, we can do this. We can do this. I'm like, we're ready for more. So it takes time to get there. It's just the process. So I am learning to accept the process. I am learning to be patient with the process. I am just lots and lots of things to learn, and just learning to not only understand but to accept the process and how things work, and learning how to apply all these things that I know into my life instead of just, I'm one of those, what was it my biological mom used to say, is like, do as I say, not as I do. And that's really hard. We always do what we see other people do, or we always judge them on that. And I'm one of those people. I feel like I say, I'm like, all bark and no bite. I'm like, I struggle with the follow through. So I have lots of times where I'll say something and be like, oh, that's so profound. That's so amazing. I'm like, yes. And if I just only take my own advice, if I would just take my own advice, if I would actually do what I'm saying, I would probably be a lot better off. So a lot of things are easier said than done. That's the one I was thinking of. I'm very good at saying or thinking the ideas. I'm just not as good. I'm learning how to, trying to learn how to figure out myself enough so that I can actually follow through with all of my ideas. I haven't learned that one quite yet. If I do, I will probably share that with you. But again, I think it's probably a process, and it has a lot more to do with being consistent and recognizing that a lot of the times when I don't want to do that, it is some underlying trauma or underlying emotional thing that I have not dealt with, which is just opportunities, more opportunities. I had a sponsor that called them growth opportunities, and I always hated that. It's true, but I still don't like it. And yet here I am doing all of these videos, which are growth opportunities because I'm learning and growing and emotionally and spiritually. And I'm grateful that I can do that and that I can share this with all of you. So I hope that you are finding these entertaining or helpful or that you can relate to them in some way. And if you do like these videos, you're going to like, subscribe, share with someone else if you think they'll like it too. And I hope you have a great day full of gratitude. Find some fun, fabulous ways to celebrate yourself and maybe do some writing.